taken very seriously in the organizations, because if grievances are there, automatically it is going to be problem for the organization as well as for the other people also, and the environment of the organization is also not going to be very good. So basically we have to talk about the grievances, that what exactly grievances can create, and what are the basic procedures on the basis of it we can solve the grievances of the employees with the help of the trade unions. As you know that if whatever the companies are, these companies are in the opinion that if they are able to solve the grievances of their 80% employees, the company is going to be one of the best companies in the industry. So today we are going to talk about the grievance procedures as well as the disciplines, that what are the basic disciplines which are uh, prevailing in the organizations, and how the procedures help in solving the problems. So, what are the basic goals and objectives? The basic reasons for taking disciplinary action. This is first goal and objective of the organization, that we have to see that we have to understand the reasons for taking the disciplinary actions. Second, understand the importance of proper documentation. As you know that whenever the complaints are there regarding the grievances are concerned, the person or the HR department should be in a position, or the grievance should be in a position to understand the importance of proper documentation, because if documentations are proper, then only we are in a position to to understand the proper uh, the importance of the documentations, and we can understand that how these documentations play an important role while solving the grievances. So it is important that whenever we are getting the information regarding the grievances are concerned, so it is the main objective of the grievance committee that they should find out the documents, that what are the things which are right, or what are the things which are wrong. Then the third point regarding the goals and objectives are concerned, we have to understand the key points in the discipline or grievance process. It is important to understand the basic main points on the basis of which the grievance complaints is launched. So it is important for the grievance committee to understand this thing, because it is really important for the organization to understand the problems of the employees, and then they have to solve those problems. Then become familiar with the different policies and procedures. So they are saying that it is important to understand the policies laid down by the government as well as laid down by the organizations, so that at least you should be able to understand the policies and the procedures of the organization, because sometimes it happens that when you are dealing with the grievance committee, and when you are discussing the things with the employee and the management regarding solving the grievances, so it is very very important to understand the policies and procedures, because if you are not able to understand the policies and procedures, it is going to be difficult for you to solve the problems. The next objective is to learn the steps in the disciplinary process. As you know that when we are talking about it, that we have to learn the reasons first, and then in the same manner we have to learn the steps in the disciplinary process. That is also important, because what are the steps which we have to take in the disciplinary process, that is important. So it is usually said that whenever we are sitting for solving the problem regarding grievances are concerned, we have to see that what steps we are going to take and what are the process for that. Then what are the purpose of disciplinary action? The basic purpose of disciplinary action is to provide a fair, clear, and useful tool for correcting and improving the performance problems, as well as to provide a process to assist. management in handling instances of unacceptable personal conduct. So they are saying that what are the basic purpose, that the basic purpose of disciplinary action is to provide a very clear and useful tool for correcting and improving the performance problems, as well as to provide a process to assist the management in handling instances of unacceptable personal conduct. Because sometimes it happens in the organization that employees are working in the organization and they are not working up to the mark regarding the performance is concerned, and then the employee complain about the problem that we are having this problem and we are complaining about this thing. So this is the role of the disciplinary committee, to see that if the things which they are providing after listening the grievances, it should be very fair, it should be very clear and useful for correcting and improving the performance problems. So it is the role of the grievance committee to see that they have to correct and they have to use the useful tools for correcting the problems, and as well as assisting the management in handling the instances of unacceptable personal conduct. So they are saying that it is the role of the grievance committee to assist the management to handle the things so that the unacceptable personal conduct should be clarified, solved, and the people work as per the requirement of the organization. So it is very very important to understand that the what are the basic purpose of the disciplinary action. Then the next thing is why correct or improve performance and or work behavior. So they are saying that you have to correct and improve the performance or the bug behavior. So it is the role of the supervisor to review and encourage satisfactory job performances of employees, and supervise also and have to address cases of unpersonal conduct. So it is the role of the supervisor to see that how they are going to correct the performance of the employee, and time to time they have to inform the employee regarding the behavior of themselves. Then provide specific to employee, that means provide specifies to employees, that means that discipline procedures provide a process to address specific to the employee on concern with the performance and or the work behavior. That means it is the role of the supervisor to inform the employee regarding the specific behavior of the employee when they are performing their duties. So it is the role of the supervisor to tell them that okay, you are doing this thing which is not correct, so you have to clarify this thing and according to that you have to work on that. Then maintain consistency in the work unit. This is also the role of the supervisor to maintain the consistency in the work unit, because it is very very important to maintain the consistency so that the performance of the organization will be taken care of in a proper manner. So if you see that when we are talking about the discipline and the grievances, it is very important role which was played by the supervisors, because supervisors are the people who are the main instrument to solve the problem. Then documents. The process provides, that means the grievance process will provide the documentation to both the employee and the management regarding the performance or personal conduct. That means if employee is not working properly and the conduct of the employee is not good, so it is the role of the uh, immediate supervisor to provide all the documentations to both, that means the employee as well as to the management, so that they will understand that what are the problems they are going to face and what they are going to discuss while they are sitting in the grievance committee meeting. So the documentation is also one of the important point regarding the grievances are concerned. Then just causes. Insubordination, that means they are saying that willful failure or refusal to carry out the reasonable order from an authorized supervisor. Insubordination means that when employee knowing the thing and they are not taking the orders from the immediate supervisor is known as insubordination. So this usually happens in some big organization where there are some employees who doesn't take the orders from the supervisors and they do according to their own will and wish, and they knew this thing that they are not taking the orders, but again they are causing problems to the people. So this is insubordination. Then unacceptable personal conduct. Sometimes it happens when the person is working on the job and the behavior of a person is unacceptable at any point. So this is also one of the causes for the confrontation and which causes the grievances. So the unpersonal behavior of a particular person should not be accepted at any cost. That is also one of the basis of the grievances. Then unsatisfactory job performance. Sometimes it happens that person is working in the organization, but the performance of that person is not up to the mark. So in that situation, the individual employee has to be taken care by the supervisors, and this is also one of the reasons for the disciplinary action to be taken against the employee. So it is the role of the supervisor to see that if there is a unsatisfactory job performance, he or she immediately inform the employee that your performance is not good, kindly rectify it and give the various helps to the employee so that he or she can improve the performance. Then gross insufficiency. When job performance is so unsatisfactory that it causes or results in death or serious injuries to the employees, members of the public, or the persons for whom the employee have responsible. The result is a serious loss or damage to state property or funds advisory impacting the state agency and the work unit. That means that inefficiency means that the job performance is so insufficient or unsatisfactory which results to the either to death or some serious injuries to the employees, which can create a lot of problem to the either to the state property or to the units, because insufficient efficiency means that the organization is working and employees are also not worried about the personal loss of anything. So it is important to see that if there is a personal loss, you have to be taken care for that. So these are the few causes which I have talked to you regarding uh, disciplinary action to be taken against those people. Number one, which I have told you just now, insubordination, then unacceptable personal conduct, unsatisfactory job performance, and the gross inefficiency. Then we are going to talk about the unresolved incidents. This is act of unacceptable personal conduct, unsatisfactory job performance, or grossly inefficient job performance for which no disciplinary action has previously been taken by the agency or organizations. So unresolved incidents means that there is an act of unacceptable personal conduct. Sometimes it happens the employees works in the organization, but the conduct of the employee is not acceptable at any cost. That that may create a lot of problem to the organization also, and they may create problem to the workers or the co-workers. And the insufficient job performance at that situation is not taken by the organization, or no disciplinary action will be taken against the concerned person. So in this situation, we usually say that these are the unresolved incidents where no disciplinary action will be taken against the employee, whatever he or she is doing since long, and it will be continuing. So it is known as the unresolved incidents. Then the next point is insubordination. As I have told you just now, it is the willful failure or refusal to carry out a reasonable order from the authorized supervisor. That means the employees are really not taking any orders from the superiors, and they knew this thing that they are not obeying the orders. So this is also known as insubordination, which I have told you just now. Then examples of insubordination, if we talk about it, let's take one example. The receptionist is asked to assist a visitor and refuses because she does not like to be interrupted. This usually happens in the organization when there is a visitor and some senior person has asked the visitor to please escort this visitor to a certain place, but receptionist refused to do that. Why? Because she doesn't want the interruption of the work which she is doing. So at that situation, it is known as insubordination. Then second example you can say is it is like the mechanic is asked to take a state car for a test drive to see what is wrong with it and refuses because he doesn't think it is necessary. That means that there is a mechanic, and for the government organization or the private organization, he has been asked to take the car for a test drive and see whether the car is okay, fine, or some problem is there in the car. But he refuses to take the car. Why? Because he thinks that it is not necessary. So this is another example of subordination where the people refuse to do the work as per the requirement of the senior people. Then unacceptable personal conduct. What are the basic unacceptable personal conducts are there which has to be taken into care when we are talking about the personal conducts? Number one is the conduct for which no reasonable person should accept to receive prior warning. That means it is a sort of conduct which is taken by or done by the employee, and it is not accepted to receive the prior warning for that, and the conduct is done by the employee. Second is violation of state or federal law. That means in the organization when you are doing some unethical work which is directly or indirectly violating the law of the state or the federal law. So this says that you are violating the law. So it is not acceptable at any cost. Then willful violation of known or written work rule. That means that you know that in each and every organization there are particular rules, and according to the rule book people work. But the employee who knows this thing very well, they are not doing this thing and they are willfully violating that rule. That means that they are not doing the work knowing that they have to do this thing. Then falsification of employment documentation. Sometimes it happens to get the job. There are some employees, what they did, they make the false documents and they present the false document in the HR department of the organization. So this is unacceptable personal conduct where you are giving a false document to get a job. Right. Next is the conduct unbecoming a state employee that is detrimental to state services, including criminal conviction. That means if you are a government employee and the as per the government service rules, you are not complaining that thing and you are involved in some criminal convictions or criminal activities, that is another point which can create a lot of problem for the organizations. Then abuse of person over whom the employee has charge. That means that if you are abusing a person, employee is doing a work, maybe their subordinate, they abuse subordinates like anything. In that situation, the things become unacceptable at any cost. Then absence from work after leave and benefit is exhausted. That means that whatever the benefit the organizations are giving to the employee is absent from the work after taking the leave, and whatever the benefits are giving to him, he is still availing the same you know procedures, that he is not coming to the work after all the leaves are exhausted. So this is also one of the uh, unacceptable personal conduct. Then examples of unacceptable personal conduct: swearing at a supervisor or subordinate. That means not talking about the supervisor's order, not taking the supervisor's order, not talking to the proper person, and not talking to the subordinates in a proper manner. This is unacceptable personal conduct. Next is falsification of employment documentations, convictions of drug possession, missing work without leave to cover the time period. So these are few examples of unacceptable personal conducts, which are one of the reasons why the people become so, uh, you know, uh, so so people become so bad in doing the work, and they are not performing their work personally. So that it is very very important to see that how a person can perform in the organization, and in case if the person is not performing well, they have to be taken under the disciplinary act, and they have to be punished for that. Then unsatisfactory job performance, what do you mean by that? That means they are saying any work related performance that fails to satisfactorily meet job requirement as set out in the relevant job descriptions, like work plan, or as directed by the management of the work unit or the agency. That means they are saying that whatever the work related performance is, if people are fails to meet the job requirements, so that is also one of the reason why people are not able to perform the jobs properly, and they are creating problems for that. So whatever the work plans are as directed by the management, people are not performing the job accordingly. That what are the basic examples of work performance unsatisfactory job performance? Excessive absentees, that means people are not coming to the work and they are taking lot of leaves, that is one point. Then failure to complete assignments when they are due. There are some assignments given in the organizations to the employees, and they always fail to complete that assignment on due course of time. This is unsatisfactory job performance. Then excessive errors in completed work. That means person has completed the work, but the problem is this, that there are a lot of error or mistakes whatever work he or she has completed. So this is also unsatisfactory performance, that you have completed the work, you have done the work, but there are a lot of mistakes in that work. Then excessive callbacks on repairs. That means the person who is working in the organization, and there are a lot of uh, callbacks to complete the work, repair the work, whatever you are doing it. So the example is that if you are working in electronic companies, and if there are some calls again and again, so you have to be calling by the customer again and again that this is not right, this is not proper, you have to complete this work. So this is also another example of unsatisfactory performance. Then tardiness, that means that the people become so tired while working, and they said okay we will take rest. So this is also unsatisfactory performance. And lost files equipment due to disorganization. This usually happens in very big organizations. Sometimes it happens that if somebody requires some files or the documents, you find out that the files are not available there, it is missing, or the equipments are missing because of the disorganization. The organization is purchasing the equipment, but it is not properly handled by the people, and which causes problem to the organization, or maybe it will cause loss of lot of money to the organization. So this is another example of unsatisfactory job performance. Then efficient job performance. What do you mean by that? The unsatisfactory job performance that causes or results death or serious body injury to an employee or other person, or loss or damage to state property or funds that results in a serious adverse impact on the work unit. That means they are saying grossly inefficient job performance means that whatever the causes are there, it will create some problem to the another person and it causes injury or death to the employee, or maybe the loss or damage of the state property. So that means that is gross inefficient job performance, so that the people who are working there, they are least bothered about anything, and it is creating a lot of loss to the organization or the state wherever it is uh, performing the duties by the employee. So it is usually said that it has to be taken care by the disciplinary committee in the organization to see that how the things will be taken care of and the people will work as per the requirement of the organization. Then some examples they have given regarding the inefficient job performances. The employees on a trip with the organization vehicle drinks and has an accident. This is one of the important reasons that sometimes it happens that you are using the organization vehicle and you are drinking in that and then you met with an accident. This is gross inefficient job performance. That means employees leave a bank deposit containing $10,000 each on the sink in the restroom and it is stolen. That means the employee has gone to deposit the money in the bank from the organization and he just left the money in the restroom there, and that money was stolen. What will happen then? That means it is inefficient job performance. Then employee leaves live wire export with no warning sign posted and other employee gets severe burn from touching. This is the serious matter when there are live wires and employee they leave the live wires like it, and some other employee will touch it, will be coming there and they are just touching the wire and they get severe burns from touching it. So what will you do? That means it is a gross inefficient job performance of a particular person. So this has to be taken into consideration when you are doing the job. Then types of discipline. What are the basic different type of disciplines? Oral counseling sessions. Basically, it is not taken as a formal disciplinary action, but this is sometimes happens that whenever you are just giving a counseling to the person, maybe the person will understand the thing and they will work according to that. Then written warning. This is another thing that you are giving a warning to the people that you have not done this change and this is not tolerated by the organization. So in the basis of that you have to do the written warning. Then suspension without pay. That means that you are asking the employee that you have been suspended and you are not getting the salary for that suspended days. This is a discipline action which organization can take. That demotion, whatever the position a person is having, because of the disciplinary action that person has been demoted. Then dismissal, ask the employee to leave the job. So these are few things which has to be taken into consideration when we are talking about the uh, discipline actions to be taken by the organization to correct the measurements so that the employee should work according to the rules and regulations of the organization. Then what are the discipline process? Let's talk about the oral counseling. A recommended first response to unsatisfactory performance. This is the first thing which we have to recommend, that we have to do the oral counseling of that particular person who have been asked for the disciplinary action. Then second is supervisor conducts counseling session. These sessions are conducted by the supervisors, because supervisors are the immediate boss of that particular employee, and he knew this thing, that what is the problem with this employee. So they sit together and the counseling session goes on. Then problem areas are identified and discussed. Yes, this is also important, that supervisor has to discuss all the problem areas with the employee who have been charged with the disciplinary action, so that they will solve the problem immediately while the counseling session goes on. Then improvement plan and time frame are discussed and noted by the supervisor. When the counseling takes place, it is the role of the supervisor to see that what are the improvement plan the supervisor can give to the employee, and the supervisor has to give a time frame also, so that those things are discussed and noted by the supervisor, that okay, after this time you have to correct yourself, otherwise we are going to take strict action against you. Then supervisor maintain record of the session. It is the role of the supervisor to maintain the whole record of the session, whatever is taking place there. So this is another part which we have to take into consideration when we are talking about the record session. Then it is not considered part of formal disciplinary process. This is the initial phases of disciplinary action, and usually it is recommended in the organization that before taking any disciplinary action, it is always advisable to sit with the employee and do the counseling of the employee, find out the problem areas, and then give some improved plan, so that the employee can improve themselves. And you have to give a time frame also, that okay, this is a certain time period, on the basis of this you have to be correct yourself, otherwise a proper discipline action is going to be taken. Then what is written warning? It is a written statement of an unresolved incident of unsatisfactory performance. Written warning means that there is a statement which is given by the organization to the employee for the unresolved incident. Whatever the incident occurred in the organization and it is not going to be solved, which is known as unresolved. And because of unresolved incident, there is a unresolved or unsatisfactory performance of that particular employee. So this has to be taken into consideration, and then a written warning is given to the employee. Then what are the things which is required in the written warning? In the written warning, it has to be stated that this is a warning to the employee. Then specific conduct or performance has to be mentioned into that because of this we are giving a warning to you. Then specific performance or conduct improvement, then you have to give information that you have to correct this thing within the stipulated time period, otherwise we have to take some other actions. Then indicate the time frame. That means if not included, defaults to 60 days for unacceptable job performance and immediately for grossly inefficient job performance or personal conduct. That means that you have to give a time frame. As I have told you just now, when you are specifying the performance or conduct improvement, you have to give a time also to the employee, that okay, this is the time, and within this time you have to improve yourself, otherwise it is going to be a problem for you. Then next thing which we are going to talk about is the uh, few other points regarding the written warning is concerned. State the consequences of failing to make required improvement or correction. In this written warning, it has to be mentioned that in case if you are not improving yourself, or corrective measurements are not taken by the employee, you have to face the consequences of that. This is another point which has to be mentioned in the written warning. Then give appeal right provided by agency police or state law or the organizational top body. That means that in this, it has to be mentioned that In case if employee is not satisfied, they can have the appeal right in front of either the in the form in the matter of government organization, they can appeal in the state, or in the private organization they can appeal to the top management regarding the uh, problems. If second written warning should encourage use of employee association program, that means if there is a second written warning given to the employee, it should be encouraged with the help of the employee assistance program. That means there is a program which is usually prevailing in the organizations, which is known as employees assistance program. So according to this program, we have to take the employees who are really doing misconducts or not performing well. So in that program, we have to take these employees and then we have to ask these employees to perform better in different circumstances, and there are different solutions given to that employee that you can improve yourself in this manner. Then what are the written warning process? The supervisor prepare the draft and forward to employees relation manager. That means if there is a problem with the employee, supervisor what they have done, they will prepare the draft. They prepare the draft and then they forward the draft to the employees relation manager or maybe to the HR manager. The employee relation manager or HR manager review the draft and makes any recommendations or corrections. When the written complaint is given, the employee relation manager or the human resource manager, what they will do, they will see the draft and they will see that whether we have to give some recommendation in this or we have to correct something. Then next is the approved draft is returned to the supervisor. That means with the comments, the HR department, HR manager, or the employee relation manager, they return the draft back to the supervisor. And then approval draft is returned to the supervisor, and then supervisor schedule time to meet with the employee. Then after that, what supervisor will do? He will schedule a time to meet the employee and hand over the written warning letter to the employee, which says that okay, this is the problem which is conducted by you, and now you have to take this thing and you have to work according to that. Then employee and supervisor discuss the warning together. Supervisor give employee copy of the warning. Then supervisor forward final written warning to employee relation manager or to the HR manager for inclusion in the employee's disciplinary file. Because this is another point, when supervisor is discussing the thing with the employee, a copy of the written complaint has to be handed over to the employee, and one copy supervisor with his comment handed over to employee relation manager or the HR manager, which has to be kept in the disciplinary file of that particular person. Then written warning remains active for 18 months from date of warning. That means that whatever the written warning is giving, it is only active up to 18 months. After that, the warning is nullified. So this is also taken by the supervisors or the HR department to see that whatever the warnings they are giving, it has to be taken up immediately. Then suspension without pay. This is another point which usually takes place, that employee is not permitted to work for a defined period of time without receiving the pay. The employees are not permitted to apply leave towards a suspension without pay. That means that in this situation, the employee is not permitted to work for a defined period of time, and at that time they are not getting the salaries also. And on another hand also, the employees are not permitted to apply for the leave. Suppose some employee is having some leaves remaining with them, they can always apply for the leave towards a suspension without pay. That will also not accepted by the organization. And this suspension period without pay is from 5 to 10 days, not more than that. So after that you have to revert back this thing, and on the basis of that you have to see that how disciplinary actions can be taken. So this is all about the disciplinary action and the grievances. So it is very very important that we have to take the disciplinary action if anybody is not performing well, and if time period is given to the employee and still the employee is not working properly. So there are provisions that the organization can remove that particular employee or suspend the employee for a certain period of time. So this is basic things which we have to talk about regarding the suspension without pay is concerned. So in this session, I have talked to you about the various disciplinary actions which can be taken when employee is not working properly, and there are a lot of other things also which we have taken into consideration, and I am quite sure that you are able to give the answers for the questions which I have just framed for you. So these are some MCQs that why should employee adopt and make effective use of both disciplinary and grievance procedures. So the answers are there: to force the unemployment employed to work for their company, to ensure that their firm remains insured, to stop employees from resigning, to maintain good employees relations in the workplace. So you have to select the appropriate answer and you have to give this answer. The next is, which organization has developed a voluntary code of practice relating to the use of disciplinary and grievance procedure? ACAS, the Health and Safety Executive, Low Pay Commission, or Central Arbitration Committee? So you have to think over it, and on the basis of thinking, you have to give the answer that what are the organizations who are doing this thing. Then, which of the following type of offense may be classified as amounting to gross misconduct? I have discussed this thing with you. I've given four alternatives: the using the wrong car park space, being late for the work, taking a day off when ill, or stealing from an employer. Then, which of the following is not a state involved in disciplinary procedures? An appeal, counseling, investigation, or tribunal hearing? Or which of the following would not be suitable disciplinary penalty? Finding the employee, another job on the enhanced salary, dismissal without notice, dismissal with notice, final written warning. Then there are another questions: what is the main cause relating to procedural unfairness in unfair dismissal claim? So I have given some alternative answers to you, and I am quite sure that you are in a position to give the answers for these questions, and it will help you out to understand about the disciplinary actions taken by the organization or the state. State means the government organizations. So it will be very very essential for any organization to have disciplinary committee as well as the grievance committee also, because it is usually seen that whenever the big organizations are there have to be some sort of misconduct by the employees, and you have to see that how you can solve those problems. Initially it is recommended that you have to do the counseling for the people, and after that you have to see that after the counseling you have to counsel the employee who are misconducting, performance is not good on the job, he or she is doing some other works. So at that situation you have to sit with the employee. It is the role of the supervisor to see this thing, that they have to sit with the employee, discuss each and everything with the employee, and then come to the conclusion that okay, this is the problem. Now we are going to help you out in certain manners. So these are the things which has to be taken into consideration when we talk about the disciplinary action to be taken. So before taking the disciplinary action, this is the first step which usually we have to take, that is the counseling session as I have described to you just now. And after that, there, if the employee is not correcting himself, at that situation then there is a written complaint given to the employee with the help of the supervisor, giving the comment by the HR managers or the employee manager, where that means employee relationship manager, where they endorse the things or maybe they put some comments, and they return back the things to the supervisor so that the supervisor can hand over the paper to the employee. And one copy is going to be in the files of that particular employee, uh, so that whenever the time comes regarding the promotions or anything are there, that file will be there to see that whether the person is good for promotion or whether the person is not good for the promotion. So these are the things which we have to take into consideration whenever we talk about all those things. And this will help the employees to grow better, and they can always see that there are chances for appeal also. In case if employees is still not satisfied with the disciplinary action taken by the committee, he should have some uh, areas where he or she can appeal to the higher ups, that means to the higher management, that okay, this is the problem now, tell me what to do. And this is the role of the management to see that if the problems are not solved, that the management has to take decision regarding those things, and then we have to work according to that. So these are the things which I have talked to you in this session, and I am quite sure that you are in a position to understand the disciplinary procedures. And whenever somebody asks you about the disciplinary procedures, you are in a position to give the answer for this. And it will help you out to understand the human resource planning and human resource management, that this is also one of the important part for that. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.